In February 1979, millions of people poured into the streets of Tehran to welcome a returning exile. Within days, a Persian monarchy that had ruled for 2,000 years dissolved. For decades, Emperor Mohammad Reza Pahlavi controlled an aggressive, modern state apparatus. He commanded a formidable national military and a feared secret police network, all fueled by billions in surging oil revenues and backed heavily by the United States. Yet the man who defeated him was a 76-year-old religious cleric living in France, armed primarily with analog audio cassettes. The collapse of the monarchy was the result of a decades-long collision between a hollow secular government and an invisible empire operating right underneath it. This diagram compares 19th-century state structures. On the left, nations like the Ottoman Empire had built highly structured, centralized bureaucracies with standing national armies. On the right, Iran retained a fragmented layout, where the monarchy's actual reach rarely extended past the capital city. Because the secular government lacked the infrastructure to administer the whole country, the Shiite clergy, known as the ulema, stepped into the administrative void. This maps the ulema's economic engine. They collected the khums, a 20% religious tax. This money bypassed the central government, flowing directly into clerical networks. With absolute financial independence, they deployed that capital to build schools, hospitals, and welfare programs across the country. By the mid-20th century, the Iranian clergy operated a fully functional, highly organized shadow state, commanding deep cultural loyalty that the central government could not match. Flush with cash from the 1970s oil boom, the Shah launched the White Revolution, a top-down modernization program designed to force Iran into becoming a westernized, secular powerhouse. This graph plots the economic reality of that boom. Iran's national GDP skyrocketed, growing by up to 40% in a single year. But wealth flatlined for the bottom 90%, leaving rural economies devastated, while an elite hoarded the oil revenues. Millions of rural citizens migrated into sprawling city slums to find work. Cut off from their villages, they experienced normative disorientation, a state of intense anxiety that occurs when rapid change destroys traditional moral anchors and social safety nets. If anyone spoke out against this staggering inequality, they faced the Savak, the secret police force, which systematically imprisoned and crushed political opposition. The Shah successfully engineered a modern economy on paper, but the speed of his reforms stripped away the existing social fabric, leaving a desperate population searching for a savior. For centuries, Shiite clerics strictly adhered to a doctrine of quietism. They believed religious leaders should remain passive and stay out of state politics until the return of their messianic figure, the hidden imam. This logic tree visualizes how Ayatollah Khomeini broke that ancient rule. He engineered a massive doctrinal mutation called the layat-e-faqih, or the guardianship of the jurist. He argued that the clergy were required to absorb the state and rule it directly. To sell this radical theocracy, Khomeini adopted the language of the secular left. He utilized anti-imperialist and Marxist talking points to build an alliance with university students, with local communists, and the urban middle class. Exiled in Iraq and later France, Khomeini recorded his sermons onto cheap audio cassettes. Because they were inexpensive and easy to duplicate, millions of these tapes circulated rapidly through underground markets, slipping right past the secret police. Khomeini took centuries-old religious infrastructure and weaponized it, reverse engineering traditional theology to unite a fractured society against one man. In January 1978, a state-run newspaper published a defamatory article attacking Khomeini. Outraged religious students took to the streets of Qom, and state police opened fire, killing protesters. This cyclical diagram shows how the protests became self-sustaining. Shia Islamic tradition requires a memorial service 40 days after a death. The initial killings guaranteed a massive gathering of mourners 40 days later. Police fired on that crowd, triggering a new 40-day clock, drawing an even larger crowd for the next memorial. The state was caught in an inescapable mathematical loop. As the cycles compounded, the Shah's authority evaporated. The military lost the will to keep shooting, and the emperor fled Iran, never to return. The Iranian state collapsed under the weight of this chronological momentum, proving more powerful than any coordinated military coup or foreign invasion. Upon returning to Tehran, Khomeini immediately capitalized on the chaos to consolidate absolute power. The secular leftists and Democrats who helped start the revolution quickly found themselves outmatched. While they relied on scattered political groups, the clerics possessed the independent Qums funding and a tightly organized nationwide network of local mosques. Leveraging that vast institutional advantage, the new Islamic Republic turned on its allies, systematically imprisoning and executing the factions that stood alongside them. When rapid economic modernization outpaces the reality of the people living through it, a vacuum opens. In that void, the faction with the deepest institutional roots and the tightest organization will execute the hostile takeover.